All right, Nick. Sometimes after a couple years, a guy seems to just jump off the screen at you. You never saw him before, kind of hits you in the face, and you never saw it coming. So we're going to hit you with some, sleeper picks, guys that maybe come into the league. They've been around for a little bit, and this is their coming out party. And the Bucs really have a guy like this. What do you have on this?
Yeah, so Bleacher Report had a nice article about none other than Bucs wide receiver Tyler Johnson. Bleacher Report wrote, over the past 2 seasons, we've seen glimpses of Tyler Johnson's playmaking ability in a reserve position. Behind Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and Rob Gronkowski in the pecking order among quarterback Tom Brady's pass catching options, he didn't get a consistent volume of targets. Yet, Johnson converted 72 targets into 48 receptions for 520 yards and 2 touchdowns. And although the Buccaneers added wideout Russell Gage to the roster, Godwin is still in the early stages of his recovery from a torn ACL that he suffered against the Saints last year. Godwin's potential absence at the beginning of the 2022 campaign could allow Johnson to fill in as a starter for multiple weeks. Furthermore, Gronkowski remains undecided on a commitment to play another season. All right, Miles, what do you think of Tyler Johnson? Obviously, like Bleacher Report wrote, he has been just buried in the depth chart. It wasn't just those guys. It was guys like Antonio Brown as well that were kind of taking a lot of receptions and potential targets away from Johnson. What do you think about his chances this year with the Tampa Bay Bucks?
So with Godwin questionable to be ready at the beginning of the season, Gronk is in question whether he's coming back at all or not. Antonio Brown is now gone. I think this kind of parts the seas in the depth chart for Johnson to move up. And Tom Brady is the king of making a guy who relatively little name, no name target into a superstar, like he did a few years ago with Scotty Miller, who also still on the roster, but Johnson got substantially more targets than him last year. Johnson has been on a constant uptick, 12 receptions in 2020, 36 receptions in 2021. He is getting more targets, and now he has the chance to really establish himself in this offense. I think it's important that last year he did 36 receptions isn't a small number. He has some sort of rapport with Brady, and coming in, this is a guy that Brady is going to want to lean on one of his final seasons. He may play 10 more years, you never know, but one of the final seasons, Brady's going to want to lean on guys that he's comfortable with, guys that he knows, and I think this gives Johnson the perfect timing in his career to have a breakout season.
Well, you hit the nail on the head when you're talking about Brady and comfort. So Brady notoriously loves working with veterans that he's played with either before or just knows what to expect from them. All veteran quarterbacks kind of have that mentality. Tyler Johnson coming in as a rookie in 2020, obviously, especially when you consider the depth at wide receiver, it was going to take him a long time to earn Brady's trust. And that's not uncommon. Julian Edelman, Tom Brady's best friend by all accounts, it seems, was basically an ineffective New England wide receiver and special teams guy for the first 4 or 5 years of his career before Edelman finally worked into Brady's good graces and got his trust before Edelman became the player he was with Brady in New England. I think you see the same kind of impact with Johnson, right? It took a couple years to kind of build Brady's trust. I remember in a big playoff game after the 2020 season in New Orleans, I think Johnson had an amazing 3rd and 12 catch that helped ice the game. Just little plays like that over time really solidified the trust with Brady. And when I look at Johnson's attributes, I go back to his draft profile coming out of Minnesota a couple of years ago. These 2 points jump out at me as how Brady's going to love this guy. Says diligent in working back to his quarterback and rare ball skills and instincts as ball winner. He is going to fight back to the football and win the football for Brady. And as a veteran quarterback, or any quarterback for that matter, you love a guy who will win those 50-50 balls and come back to you and really help you out and get out of those tough situations.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. And I think just the whole, like you said, it can't be said enough about Brady having to build trust with the receivers and build up that receiving corps. And like we said, with the uncertainty of people coming back or not, Johnson is now one of the few guys Brady can trust on that roster. But let's wind it back. I think Johnson is also in college. He's part of one of a historically good producer of receiving talent. Obviously, Minnesota produced Rashad Bateman, Baltimore guy. Also, a couple years before that, they had a pretty good tight end in Max Williams that came out of school. But all through college, one thing that we talk about when we talk about our draft prospects, Johnson got considerably better every year. 76.6 grade. Then he got an 89.6 grade, 91.5 receiving grade his last year with the Gophers. So it's a guy, he can learn. He consistently grew. He consistently built the rapport with Brady. And like we said, 1, 2, 3. Third year is the charm for Johnson. It was in college. It seems to possibly be his time in the NFL. This is going to be a big breakout season for Johnson and the Bucs.